In episode 3 of Lucky Last, meet Brenda Miley, the visionary founder of Let's Go Surfing, Australia's largest surf school. With just 5 surfboards and a dream, Brenda transformed the back of her van into a surf school, building a passion for surfing in countless souls. Today, Let's Go Surfing boasts a team of nearly 100 staff, all dedicated to sharing Brenda's love for the ocean. But beyond the waves lies a story of perseverance, determination, and the power of chasing your dreams against all odds. From the back of a van to the shores of success, Brenda's legacy is a testament to the transformative power of the ocean and the human spirit. Hello, and welcome to Lucky Last, the podcast where every ending is just the beginning of something extraordinary. I'm your host, Marie, and in every episode, we'll uncover the most incredible stories of resilience, hard work, and success. Brenda, welcome to Lucky Last podcast. Let me introduce you. You are the founder of Let's Go Surfing, one of the biggest surfing schools in Australia. You are as well one of the first female to compete in surfing. You are an ocean lover. You are as well very close to your community, and you started your business out of the back of your van 30 years ago, and now you have a very successful business. So thank you for joining me. I'm very excited to have you here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. So let's start at the very beginning. I read that you surfed your first wave on your dad's back at 3 years old. And I guess, I don't know if at that time you already knew because you're only 3, but when was the moment, the revelation, when you said to yourself, I actually want to do that in my life? Or
Surfing?
yes.
Look, I grew up close to the beach, but at Coogee, which isn't really a surfing beach, but I was always a water baby. I used to do swimming training at the ladies' baths at Coogee in the ocean pool, and then I'd go to the beach, and my dad used to take me surfing on his back. He was big and I was tiny, and I'd catch these waves with him. And I just loved the ocean. So I just was always in it. So I started body surfing at Coogee.
Yes.
And I don't know if Coogee, but it's very dumpy waves. So I got good at getting dumped. And then when I got a bit older, when I was allowed to go to the beach by myself, when I was probably in year 7, all my friends went to Tamarama.
Yes.
Which is probably one of the most dangerous beaches in Australia because it's small and it's got rips. But I taught myself to bodyboard there, and then I went on to a soft board. They used to be called Cool Lights, and then I went on to a fiberglass board. And in those days, nobody, like there wasn't such a thing as surf schools. Nobody taught you. You just had to teach yourself. So then I started doing fiberglass boards at Maroubra and Bondi, and then so I've been on every beach in the eastern suburbs.
That's fascinating. So were you by yourself when you were going there, or were you with friends? It was male, female?
It was mainly males, and I was just this passionate about it. I didn't care. So I actually, in the school holidays, I used to walk every day from Coogee to Tamarama with a surfboard or a bodyboard.
Goodness.
Go in the water, say hello to my friends, go in the water all day, get out and say goodbye and go home because I had to be home by 4:30.
Yes.
So I got to the beach at 8 or something like that. And I had a couple of friends who surfed. Generally, that was what I did. I just go and do it myself.
That's amazing. So you started surfing, you loved it. When did you start a competition? Because you, as I said, you were one of the first female to start a competition. Did you start early or later on?
No, late. And there were other girls who were surfing before me, but not many. And I was just more in the community. But I did do a national titles and in probably the early 80s. And then I liked it, but it wasn't my only thing. I just liked surfing itself. I did a few different competitions, and I joined a board riders club called ITN Board Riders, which was in the nude board riders at Bondi. And that was sort of interesting because they actually let girls in. Because it's funny talking about it now because girls in surfing is so
Everywhere,
big. But it was like this special thing because board riders clubs didn't let girls in. So they were ahead of their time because they let these girls in. And some of them, one of them, Pauline Mensah, went on to be a world champion. So it was a nice little club and with a few girls. And so that sort of helped me. I enjoyed competing because I'd always been a sports person. I always competed in swimming and played water polo and netball, and I liked to compete in things.
Okay. So you started Let's Go Surfing at the back of in 95.
Yeah.
You had 5 boards, surfboards, and you started it there. You as well, I believe, noticed at that time that there was not many women in the surfing world, and you created Bondi Girl Surf Rider Club. Can you tell me more about it?
No, from the 80s to the 90s, I just had always surfed.
Yes.
But I actually never told people I surfed because surfers had a bad reputation. People would think you were dumb, stupid, drug addict, because that was what
at that time.
time. And so I didn't really tell people I surfed. And I traveled the world surfing myself with a couple of friends here and there. And I surfed all these crazy places like Mexico, Fiji, Bali, Sri Lanka, like all in the 80s. There was a big one in Portugal. I don't even know if that existed then.
Yeah.
It probably was there, but no. So I just traveled around surfing and people used to think, I'm sure they just thought, who is this girl or what's this? And I had a couple of friends and we would surf sometimes in different places. Anyway, so I had that passion. And then because I'd always been sporty, I became a PE teacher. And I taught PE for about 5 years. And at the same time, I had joined the South End Board Riders Club, which was the South Maroubra Board Riders Club. And they had a couple of girls. But I wanted to get more girls in it. So I used to go see girls in the surf and say, hey, why don't you come and join this club? And then I'd take them to the club. And by the time they'd get there, they'd get too nervous because there were too many guys. So then they wouldn't want to compete. So after I'd been a PE teacher for 5 years and I was trying to get people into surfing, I thought, oh, actually, I've got all these skills. I'm a teacher, PE, and I've surfed everywhere and I've taught myself to surf for the last 20 years. Maybe I can teach these girls. And this was before there was such a thing as surf schools. So there was a little fledgling industry maybe, but there's a couple of people coaching here and there. So I went and did my coaching course and then I thought, maybe I can do that. And at the time, I had a boyfriend who managed a surf and ski shop.
Okay.
So he's helped me with the equipment and stuff because I said, I'm going to teach surfing. I'm going to create this thing. And he said, all right, I'll help you. And so I borrowed $5,000 from a friend because I didn't have any money. Yes. And I bought some surfboards and wetsuits and stuff. And he helped me source everything. And then I just started this teaching surfing and people just fell through the door because there wasn't such a thing. And there was a lot of girls and kids because I was a teacher, so I started there. And anyway, that's how it started. And then that boyfriend is now my husband and because I thought I'll keep him. And
not doing too bad.
And we ran the business, we ran Let's Go Surfing together.
You actually found out that there was some demand. It was not a popular sport, but actually people wanted to learn surfing. So you found, I guess at that time was probably a niche.
Yeah, so was it like I actually was still teaching, but I would drop a day off from teaching.
Yes.
So I started off 5 days a week and taught on the weekend. And then I thought, oh, this is getting busier. So I dropped one day. I became casual. And then I kept dropping until eventually my husband and I thought maybe we could make a living out of this ourselves. So we took the leap and we found a shop at North Bondi and we threw in our jobs and went into a shop.
Is it the same shop?
Yeah, it's the same shop.
You have the same shop. Oh my God, that's amazing.
But it's interesting. I find if you're heading in the direction you're supposed to go in life, things happen for a reason.
Agree.
And so we'd been in the van for about 2 years. So I'd call that market research.
Yeah.
Not that I knew that I was doing that. I was just doing it. And then we tried to get a shop on Campbell Parade.
Yes.
And every time we went to get a lease on a shop, the real estate agents would go, "Who are you guys? You guys are idiots. Your surf school? What's a surf school? You don't have any money." I actually got sacked by my accountant because he said, "You guys don't know anything about money. You're stupid.
You're not going to make it."
You're not going to make it. I don't want you." And anyway, so we were all depressed. And I remember driving it to North Bondi because we always went to the point to look over at the ocean to think about what we were going to do next. And we drove past and it was an old laundromat at North Bondi. And at that point too, North Bondi was not a cool place. It was a bit of a
ghetto,
draggy place.
Dangerous.
Yeah. So we went, well, I guess the only place we can get is the laundromat. Let's get the laundromat.
Let's take it.
So we went into the old laundromat and we still we've renovated it a little bit, but not.
But it's
properly.
Such an institution now, like from the dirty laundromat in the corner of the bad neighborhood to this fantastic institution.
But it's still a hole in the wall.
Yeah.
Like we can't find a better location.
Yeah.
Because when we got there, we went, we could almost throw a rock into the water.
Yes.
And anyway, so obviously that was meant to be. And we haven't left it, even though we've grown out of it, because the location is too good.
Fair enough.
And it wouldn't be good on Campbell Parade.
100%. Such a good story. So you started in Bondi and then you grew. Where was your next one? Maroubra?
Yeah, Maroubra. So there was a lady called Sue Moore and she ran the Maroubra Surf School and we were friendly and I actually had to do my training hours with her to become a coach. And then she said one day, "I've had enough of this and I want to sell it, but I don't want to sell it to a crazy person."
Are you sure? Because I sound like crazy.
So then we bought her surf school and so we went into Maroubra because really I'd grown up at Maroubra. So I knew Maroubra really well. And so then we started having 2 locations and we thought, so that went okay. Now we're in Byron and Ballina.
Yeah.
So then there was another girl up there and she wanted to sell her surf school. So I always said, I'm attracted to other women or we're attracted to each other. And so then we bought her surf school as well in Byron and Ballina. So then we're in all these 4 locations. And we think about growing. COVID threw a spanner in the works.
So you have 100, probably more on 100 staff at multiple locations in Australia. I guess it was a long journey. It doesn't come like that.
Oh, no.
But did you ever expect when you started it 30 years ago that you will be where you are today with Let's Go Surfing?
No, never. Because I didn't start it as a business or anything. Like it wasn't a great
passion. You're passionate.
It was a
about
passion.
It. Yeah.
And I thought, maybe I can make a living out of this. But then as time's gone on, you grow and you develop. And it's been a long journey. And lots of hard work and getting help from other people. Like when we started, I remember we went to a business coach because all of a sudden we'd both thrown in our jobs and all of a sudden we're paying rent on a shop and we're not making any money. And then we also have staff then. So we're like, we're going to go out backwards if we don't get some business advice. Because I was a teacher and my husband actually was a musician. Who managed a surf and ski shop.
Yes, so nothing to do with business.
Nothing to do with business. But we realized all the skills you learn doing the things that you do, actually you can use for business or for anything. So because he was a musician, he knew you got to practice your instrument all the time. You've got to get gigs. You've got to sign contracts. Like he'd been through managers who'd probably taken all his money. So he knew about contracts, PR, marketing, how to fill a room, how to get people on boards. So he actually
used his skills.
His skills. And my skills were always the teaching side of things and the people side. We had two good sets of skills, but we didn't actually have business skills, so to speak. And so I remember going to the business coach and we did all these personality tests. And I was always the one going, this is my business. And the business coach said, no, your husband is the general manager. He's the boss of the business and you're the face of the business. And I was like, but I want to be the boss of the business. It's not your skill set.
Can I be boss?
Yeah, my husband does all the stuff in the background.
Yeah. Okay. So this business session was valuable.
Yeah, and it's a lesson I always remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he said that there was a lot of good things that came out of that. But then we grew into needing other things. So we've had a plethora of consultants. We've had HR consultants, accounting,
can you imagine? Yes.
Yeah, all sorts of marketing. We've had consultants with everything. I think I could be a consultant now, though, because I've learned all the lessons the hard way and I've taken the advice and stuff like that. Yeah.
And so now you have like many staff and many location. Yeah. Is there at some point in the journey where you said, we won't be able to survive, let's say maybe COVID? Is there at some point you said, okay, I don't think we are going to make it through this year?
Yeah.
And if so, why did you pursue it? What did go to your mind and you said, okay, I think I need to keep going?
Yeah. So there's been many times because when you start for the first few years of any business, I don't know, unless you're lucky or you're in tech or something, you don't make any money and you don't even know you're not making money. It's a weird thing. And so eventually you go, oh my gosh, I'm doing all this work, I'm not making any money. In the early days, whenever we thought, what are we going to do? We'd either go away for a weekend and talk about it or go to the point and look out.
Yes.
Get some inspiration. So there was just little times like that. There were other times in winter because we're a very seasonal business. Are we going to be able to survive? In 2008, there was the GFC and a shark attack in Bondi. We always said, oh, if there's a shark attack, we're in trouble. And that both decimated our business. And then there was COVID, which was like, I remember the fence went up on the beach.
Yes.
And
I do remember. Yes.
I just cried and I went, is that 25 years of my hard work just down the drain?
Yeah.
Because you weren't allowed to go to the beach or surf or whatever. And in the early days, you didn't know what was going to happen. So this was before JobKeeper came.
Yeah.
And I remember we went into all our business side and went, okay, because we had a lot of staff. If the government doesn't support us, we will lose our house by October because we would have all these debts to pay and all these people to support. And for most people who run a business or a small business is like your family. And so I had grown this business and had 11 full-time staff, and some of them had gotten married, they got mortgages, they had kids, which I love, the fact that I was able to be part of this. And then I was like, oh my gosh. And then they would look at me through this time, go, are we going to be okay?
Yeah.
And I'd be like, yeah, we're going to be okay. And then I'd go away going, oh my God,
crying in the corner.
I've got to make this okay. So
you made it.
Back to your point of how do you make it? I think you've got to have a big enough why. Like you've got to have a vision. Like we always said, our vision is to be the world's best surf school. And I love helping people. I love teaching surfing. I love surfing. I love creating an environment where people can grow and have a career. Like I always say, I worked really hard to be able to wear board shorts and thongs to work every day. And so that's a big enough why. I was like, no, I'm not finished yet. I want to finish when I'm ready to finish. Yeah. And so I guess you use all the skills and that you've learned in your life, and you got to dig deep and you got to keep pushing through. So yeah.
Very good advice for everyone who is struggling right now and trying to
I think the world is a weird place right now Because it's terrible. You look on Facebook and everybody looks like they're doing the best. It's amazing. Let me tell you, nobody is doing that well.
You're right. Their life are not magnificent.
We all have our struggles.
Yes.
And I think you've got to, when you dig deep, it's a sweeter victory at the end.
Yes, thank you. So you said that you love teaching and you love help others and you are very involved in the community. I met you through the community in Bondi. You created programs for women to learn surfing without men and making sure that they are safe as well. Can you tell me more about this program?
Yeah. So obviously that's been my passion the whole time, but I like just helping people feel good about themselves. And you get that in surfing because it's a bit tricky. And when you do catch a wave, or you feel good and you're free. I just always wanted to help women feel good about themselves because a lot of people are trapped in their own lives of working too much. They've got families. Women, we're our own worst enemy, including me.
Totally.
As I told you on the way here.
Yes.
I put myself out so my daughter could get to her place on time. We put ourselves last. So for me, surfing is the vehicle that helps people feel good about themselves and feel free and helps women because we need that. Because when we feel good, we can be better mothers and partners and do all the things we want to do and be more successful in everything we do.
Absolutely.
So that's why Women on Waves, we call it WOW. And sometimes for some women who come to us, it's that 1 hour a week that nobody can contact them.
Absolutely. When you're in the water, when you're at the gym, you still have your phone on. But when you are in the water, you don't. And it's so good because your mind is really focusing on what you are doing. There is nothing else that can disturb you.
You have to focus as well. Otherwise, you're going to get dumped.
That's true. I think you are doing a lot of things and a lot of things for women as well. And I found that amazing that on top of your full-time job, your kids, your life, you are taking the time to help others.
That's why my husband's the general manager and I'm not. Because he always says to me, you'd run a charity. And I'm like, yeah, just you run a business. Let me do what I want to do.
Oh, that's amazing. So you said something, we come back to surf, and I know a bit earlier you said that you apply a lot in your own life to what you are doing while surfing. And you said, I'm going to say it. You said, all the lessons you learn in surfing, you can put to use into your life. Like surfing doesn't give you what you want when you want it. You have to go to work at it. The waves keep dumping you, but you have to go to keep going. But if you can just get out of the back for that one good wave, it makes it all worth it.
Yeah, so I think surfers are hardy people because, as I said, I've probably said that somewhere, the surf doesn't give you what you want, ever. But you have to go, oh, I want to get out the back. But to get out the back, you're going to get dumped. You've got to find the right equipment. If you don't have the right equipment, you're going to get dumped. Sometimes the waves keep pushing you and you've got to keep paddling, keep paddling. And those sort of metaphors always motivate me because I'm like, been out in that big surf and I've gotten smashed and my board's gotten broken, but I still got in. So I can do this in life. So I think surfing teaches you a lot and it teaches you to be humble. Because again, as I was saying before, in this day and age, everybody wants everything right now and they want it just so. Well, you're not getting that in surfing.
And you're not getting that in life either, you know?
Like,
you need to be patient, to get what you want. And work hard for it.
Yeah, and I liken that a little bit to my journey in the surfing industry because the surfing industry has always been very male-dominated. And I was often the only woman in the room because the other thing is if you want to be successful in something, you've got to give more than you get. So I've always put myself into committees. If you want to know what's going on in your industry, will be part of the decision making. So I've always put myself out there, even when I was unconfident. And I'd be the only girl and I'd be thinking, oh my gosh, why am I here? Or these guys, they know everything. They're so good at surfing. I'm not as good as them. I had all that negative self-talk, but I kept...
Imposter syndrome.
But I kept turning up.
Yes.
I kept turning up. And then And I just kept going. I just keep going. I
Don't
don't
give
give
up.
up. I don't give up. I just keep going. And my husband says the same thing about music. You've got to keep going. It's the people who give up early that don't do anything. But anyway, so I've been running for 28 years, and it's only in the last few years that people in the surfing industry have actually recognized anything I've done. Yeah. But it's because I keep turning up. I keep being there, and I keep expecting nothing. Expect nothing, do more, and you don't know where that's going to take you.
Very good advice. Really good story, actually. Yes, that's so true. I think you need to keep showing up. Yes, keep showing up.
Even when it's hard.
Yes. And even when you think that you are not worth it.
Yeah.
Keep showing up, or you don't provide value. You will always do a way or another.
Yeah. I did another leadership thing once, and I felt really out of place. And it was in Melbourne. It was only a few years ago. And it was people who, they were high-flying corporate people. And I thought, I want to learn more about leadership. Yeah. And so I turn up in my T-shirt and jeans, and everyone's in a corporate suit. And I'm like, oh, my gosh, really a fish out of water here. And I was really shy to say things, and we had to talk about different things. And at the end of the whole process, I was like, oh, God, I've got to get out of here. Yeah. Anyway, and one of the guys who ran this big company, he said, look, I would like to commend Brenda, because all of us, we just have jobs, but she's built a business from the bottom up, and she's here showing us her leadership. I nearly fell over. I was like, the other thing is be yourself, be authentic, be yourself, be scared, but show up and turn up, because you never know what will happen.
That's so true. You were a PT teacher, and I believe you had a conversation with your mom, and you say, Mom, I'm quitting. I'm going to run my small surf shop, surf school out of my van. Your mom probably thought, what's wrong with you, my daughter? But you said something very interesting. You said, you just got to change your word to live the life you want. Yeah. And this is exactly what you did. Yeah. You took this risk, and you quit PT, teaching, and the security for your passion, for the lives that you wanted to live. It's risky, but in your instance, it has been worth it.
Yes. No, it is. Like, it is worth it, because I have created whatever I'm doing, I've created, which is, there's something really, you feel good about that. At various times I've had absolutely no money. It's go back to if there's a big enough why. You know, I wanted, when I was a PE teacher, I wanted to change the world with PE. I didn't know I wanted these things, but when I think about it, and then I decided, no, I'll change the world with surfing.
Yes.
So big ideas. And I think, I'd rather be free and happy. But again, you can't expect to be really wealthy. You've got to just keep working on it. Absolutely. And eventually, my goal actually was to go on a tropical holiday every year and go surfing. That was my goal originally when I started teaching surfing.
Yes, because maybe in winter you can close the van and jump on the plane and go to a beautiful tropical beach. Yes.
But that was my personal goal. Yes, and then I wanted to pay off a mortgage, and then I wanted to have a child and all that sort of stuff. So I think you've got to just keep reevaluating your goals and going, where am I going? And can I do this? Yes. But it's about not giving up, because business is hard. I've also been a business mentor for women in business. And I've actually mentored some people to keep going for success. And I've mentored some people out of business, because business isn't for everyone, because it's hard and it's risky and it doesn't pay sometimes, and you've got to keep going.
And I think you said it, if you are not passionate about it, it's very difficult to run it, because it's extra hours, it's nonstop. You need to get up with the happiness to work on your passion, and knowing that even if it doesn't go anywhere, at least you're happy to do it. Yeah. And I learned it as well. I had this business we were talking before, but I was absolutely not passionate about it. I was just trying to make money on the side. And I realized that nothing will work for me if I'm not doing something that I really like.
Yeah. And that's where being authentic, being true to yourself, And look, when maybe not everyone's in a position to do that either, because we all have different,
of course,
needs. For me, just going after money does nothing for me. And I always said to my husband, who'd say, we need to do this, I'd be like, the money will come, don't worry, we're going to keep going. And it did.
And it does, yes, exactly.
Not that I'm really wealthy at all, but I have enough money to do the things I want to do.
Absolutely. That's the most important thing. So after that, did your mom was okay with you and Let's Go Surfing?
Yeah, of course. She would support whatever I did.
That's good.
She was just like old fashioned, because teaching, you get school holidays off if you want to have children, all that sort of stuff. And business is, the world again has changed though, because everybody's life is more fluid and,
absolutely,
and more men are involved in childcare, and people work their way around things.
It's more flexible these days. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So at that time when you started Let's Go Surfing, you noticed that there were not much space or safe space for women in the surfing environment, and you decided to launch Bondi Girls Surf Rider Club.
Yeah.
Can you tell me more about the club? Because I believe that now there are many members in this club. Yes.
From my time of competing at those different clubs where there was a small number of girls, and also from teaching women to surf, there was a few women I'd taught and they said, hey, why don't we get our own club? And so I was like, okay, let's set up this Bondi Girls Surf Riders Club. And we'll do it different to the boys.
Yes.
Because everyone's included. So in most of the boys' club, there's an A grade and a B grade and a junior or something like that. And in our club, we said we're going to have beginners, intermediate, advanced. So today we have 7 or 8 grades.
Okay.
So we have mini gidgets, who are little girls, and we have juniors, and we have beginners. So there's something for everyone.
Yes.
And this year is our biggest membership ever, with 140 women, female members.
Fantastic.
You did a charity at Let's Go Surfing. We've raised a lot of money for a lot of different charities. Every year on International Women's Day, we do an event where we have 70 or so women come down and we surf for the morning. And then we raise money for different groups. Last few years, we've raised money for a group called Weave, which is around the Maroubra area, and it's an Indigenous organisation, and we raise money for, they help women in need.
Yes.
Yeah, that whole International Women's Day thing, I wanted to do something where, because you know how you get all these emails about come to lunch for International Women's Day, but I was like, no, we need to surf, which fills our cup.
Yes, absolutely.
And then we meet after, have something to eat, and then we help some other women in need. So it's a full circle.
Yes, absolutely. That's beautiful.
But anyway, Bondi Girls Surf Riders is a huge community of women.
Yeah.
So all these women now, we compete.
Yes.
And so we develop junior surfers or advanced surfers who want to move on to bigger and better things.
Yes.
But it's also more a connection and a community for women, and they all meet and make friends.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Brenda, for your time. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Lucky Last. If you enjoyed today's conversation, remember to subscribe or follow me on your favorite podcast platform. And if you are more of a visual learner, you can catch the video version of this episode on my YouTube channel. Just search for Lucky Last and hit subscribe to never miss an episode. As always, your support means the world to me. So until next time, keep chasing your dreams and embracing those lucky last chances. See you soon!